So the team is about to start conference play this weekend. So does that kind of feel like a brand new season, a brand new slate for the guys?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's not something that we really talk about being different from the games that we've already had. I mean, obviously there's the different element of conference play, and obviously the element also of having a way to get to the NCAA tournament. But at the same time, our biggest focus is always just to get ourselves better, and we push across that if we focus on getting better and improving, then those results will take care of themselves. So regardless of out of conference opponent or conference opponent, we're keeping the focus on us and trying to make sure that we can put forth our best product on the field.
What did you and the coaching staff kind of take away in terms of the team's strengths and weaknesses over the last couple weeks, the first few games of non-conference action?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just, similar stuff that we're always pushing across with our strengths. When we want to run our transition game as much as possible and really push the pace and dictate the tempo of games as much as we can. Felt like we did a very good job of that. I mean, Georgetown and Marquette in the last two games did a good job against us of slowing us down a little bit, and really have focused on getting back to playing our style and making sure that we don't allow teams to do that to us, that we play at the speed that we want to play and push transition as much as we can. So it was more of continuing the same focus that we had previously and making sure that we are really focusing on playing the game at the speed that we want to play.
A couple weeks ago, the team started receiving some recognition in one of the national coaches polls. What does that do for the visibility of the program and for the Northeast Conference?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's something that that we take pride in. We want to be recognized for our efforts, obviously, like everyone out there. But again, at the same time, we really talk to the guys about we can't let those distractions really throw us off our path. We need to keep that intent and focus on getting better each day. And whether it's rankings or other things that come into play when we're on the road or spring break or some different factors that come in each week, we want to stay focused on the things that we have control over. So while it is nice to get that recognition, we're making sure that we're not letting that really weigh in on how we approach things on a day-to-day basis, but instead just keep that focus on getting better.
It seems like Sacred Heart has a pretty strong defensive style of play. I think they're leading the league right now in caused turnovers and ground balls. So how does the team kind of head into the game against them and kind of strategize against those strengths?
Yeah, they are an aggressive defense. They have some guys that can make some plays on that end of the field, and for us, we like going against teams like that. I mean, sometimes we can make sure that turns into our advantage and move the ball and take advantage of their aggressiveness. And with ground ball play, that's something that we've really been focusing on. So those two things with their defense, as you mentioned, being aggressive and being a good ground ball team, we're excited about going in against that type of style and making sure that we have things turn out in our favor and use it to our advantage.
Earlier in the year, you mentioned that one of the main goals in terms of the opponent and limiting their scoring was to try and hold them to 10 goals or less. In the last couple games, your opponent was able to score double-digit figures. So how do you kind of get back to that goal and achieving that goal again?
Yeah, it's a short-term goal that we talk about every time out. I mean, we're looking to try to reach our goals on the face-off X and on both ends of the field from a scoring standpoint. And the last two games, we certainly did not possess the ball as much as we would have liked to. And I felt that it wasn't necessarily our defense playing worse, but just giving the other teams a little bit more opportunities and more chances. But the main thing is getting back to making sure that we control that tempo, like I mentioned, and we do have the ownership over time of possession and have our defense play less at that end of the field, and making sure that we're keeping the balls in our sticks as much as possible, because that obviously works to both ends of meeting our goals for that we want to reach each game, and then eliminating the other team from being able to score more than 9 goals a game.
And just one last question. Another thing that we've kind of talked about over the last few weeks is that the point spread in terms of goals, assists, have been pretty spaced out throughout the roster. So just talk about, that selfless aspect of the team. Do you kind of see that on and off the field?
We do, yeah. I mean, again, we've talked about it in the past, and we certainly have seen that this group of guys is just very close off the field, and it shows up on the field as well. I mean, they just have fun when we come out to play. I mean, teams throughout the whole entire country are going through some weather adversity this week. We've had early morning practices because of it, and, I've really felt that the guys just have still responded in the exact same way that they do during our normal schedule. And, and even getting up at 5 a.m. and coming out to practice and being in a different scenario. They just have fun and compete at a very high level with one another. And, again, it carries over from off the field stuff too, where just feel like the guys are very tight with their relationships, and, they're not as worried about their individual success and anybody standing out. They just want the collective group to be as successful as possible.